estate to real estate. It's Money Matters with Dino.
Jim, I want to specifically talk about a few different things when it comes to a vintage home. First, what about the foundation?
Foundation, of course, is going to be the major concern of any raised foundation home. A slab, different ball game if there's problems on a slab, but we're talking about older homes today, so they're going to be on raised foundation. Just like Gail's house that we were talking about earlier, past flooding had affected the pier and post supports of that home, and it had sunk the middle of the home down. Water is the big culprit of foundation destruction. It's drainage, interior plumbing leaking that goes unnoticed for years because people don't go down there. So it's water that destroys the foundations, not so much time and pressure. You add water to the mix and we got big problems. And it takes decades for this to happen. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes decades for this to happen. So foundation would be number one. We're talking about electrical and wiring on older homes. If we had older fuse systems, we want to upgrade the knob and tube and get those systems out. Old aluminum wiring, it should go out as well, and we want to go upgrade with copper and new panel drops. Plumbing, here again, I mentioned earlier, I've seen galvanized still functioning at 70 years old. It's amazing. It all depends on the water. But in most cases, we're going to upgrade that galvanized over to copper. Depending on what area you live in, you may be going over to plastics now and PEX because of what's in the water. When they're adding chloramine to the water nowadays, it eats the copper, so we have a problem. But we're going to be looking at copper upgrades most times. Now, also drainage is a concern. We got old cast iron that's going to rust out and leak, so we're going to upgrade that as well to ABS piping. The attic structure, where we can get in on an older home, in most cases is in great shape still because, like we mentioned before, the bones of the house, these are strong homes. They're built well. What we can upgrade to help that structure is retrofitting for earthquake because most of these older homes aren't bolted down. So we want to go in and retrofit that house to give it some bite onto that foundation. You've probably run into some of the older craftsmen were actually built on river rock. Now you're looking at complete foundation replacement, and some of them were actually built on brick, and that's going to deteriorate and fall apart. So that would need a complete upgrade. I just did one recently. Foundation had failed, all due to poor drainage, and that was complete. I think that was going to run $40,000 when the foundation company came through on that one. So these are not cheap fixes, and people going into these homes need to know this. I work with different teams, and we go in, and there's a foundation inspector, termite comes in, myself, sewer line video, and that gives that buyer all that information. And then I think decks and porches, once again, you touched upon that, Sam. Any dry rot, water rot, structure attachment, if they've used treated wood or not, that makes a big difference on the decks. And then basements, that would tie right into our foundation. There are some basements out there, but not a lot of basements out there that I run into. I don't know, Gail, if you run into a lot of basements in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, I have one.
Yeah, well, then there you go. So they're out there, but not a whole lot of basements, unfortunately, because I love them. Because once you get down there, it's easier to get around the structure. So that, in a nutshell, kind of covers that whole checklist.